We've got an Arctic outbreak taking shape heading into next week across the southeast, also parts of the southern United States and the central plains, even parts of the Great Lakes. This is the cold air that we're seeing now. A bit of a warm-up, but take a look at this. Even the National Weather Service is talking about how we could be dealing with a severe Arctic outbreak heading into next week, and that could push cold air all the way down to the Gulf Coast states. And when you get this cold this far south, one has to wonder what kind of storms form along the southern side of wherever this cold air sets up. It's something to watch, a very amplified trough that starts to dig in as we head into Monday and Tuesday. I mean, we are talking about air that's straight from Siberia pushing all the way to the Gulf Coast. This is really cold, and it looks like it's going to stick around too with, look at this, more reinforcing cold, at least for the central plains and into the southeast. So really chilly here with warmer temperatures across the southwest. I do got to wonder, though, once we head into February, will we see this continue? Now, some of the long-range models and even the National Weather Service is talking about how this could continue through the end of the month. It's one of the reasons I think this January is going to be one for the books, at least cold-wise. Now, do we get the snowstorms? I don't know. And if anything, we start to see almost this trough dig into the west. That might put your storm track back into California and maybe some moderating temperatures in the east, where some of you may be just sick and tired of the cold anyway. Very low chance of seeing snow across Texas, Arkansas as that cold air builds south. Maybe something forming along the boundary. The ensemble guidance is only about a 20 to 30% chance of snow seeing it this far south anyway. It's there. It's very small, but if you're hoping for snow, I would say there's a chance, albeit low. Definitely cold, though. Cold enough for snow into the northeast. The question is, will you get the moisture along the I-95 corridor? At this point, I'm not sold on anything just yet. Let's take things day by day. As we head into Tuesday, the wind starts to pick up across the southwest again as high pressure builds in here at the surface across the Great Basin, and we're going to see some really strong winds again into Southern California. This is a PDS, a particularly dangerous situation developing here across Southern California for Los Angeles County, also Ventura counties. Now, I just want to point this out. This is something that you do not normally see with fires. A PDS, this is one of the highest alerts that the National Weather Service can put out, almost comparable to an EF3 tornado, at least the danger anyway. So we're talking about, again, 2 PDS areas. Does include this area here over toward Ventura. You can see Simi Valley, San Fernando, just north of Burbank. I think even down here to Los Angeles, you're going to have winds and the fire danger, but the highest danger would be these areas, and then back here just to the north of Santa Clara. So still, a huge problem Tuesday morning through Wednesday, really. And it's not going to be a good time here across Southern California, and have ways to get out. I don't know how many folks are watching in Southern California, but I hope you're preparing and you're ready for this. Now let's continue to talk about the cold as we head through the rest of the country. I know it's a terrible situation, and you hate to see that across Southern California, and unfortunately, no precipitation in the forecast for the next several days. We're dry here across the central part of the country too. Snow showers downwind of the Great Lakes, and rain starts to return here along the Gulf Coast. Really cold weather too here across the Midwest, down into the southeast. Temperatures below average. And once we head into next week, one would have to wonder what happens. Well, this is the GFS from today. A little bit of a different story as we move into the afternoon and evening hour run here. I don't know. Again, I don't trust anything that starts to form along your front here. The GFS has a real bias for that, trying to put a snowstorm into the northeast. The European says no way. But one thing that I'm interested in is this huge trough that's dug in here. What kind of energy develops here, and do we see something sneak along the south? More to come on that as we get closer. Closer look here into the east. We've got our stripe of snow. It's very light moving through Iowa, also Indiana, Illinois, Ohio. It could bring a fluffy inch. Snow ratios will be 20 to 1. I mean, that's pretty high, so that's a big fluff factor, so up to an inch possible with this. And then we keep the snow showers going downwind of the lakes. Accumulations here will start to add up, especially in the lake-favored areas, lake effect favored areas, that is. Downwind here of Lake Ontario, Lake Erie too. Winds start to come in out of the northwest, and we'll continue to add that snow up. And then you can see the best chance for snow, at least through the week, up here into Ontario, over into Quebec. We're going to see quite a bit of snow for our neighbors to the north. Cold here across the Ohio Valley as we wake up on Tuesday morning, near or below zero. I don't know that we get below zero, but it's going to be close with that snowpack on the ground. The cold air builds in as we head into Tuesday night into Wednesday, and I think Wednesday morning will be really cold here across Indiana. I don't know if you get to 5 below, but if you look at the official forecast numbers, they're dropping below 0. The modeled numbers may be a little strong, but the idea with fresh snow on the ground and clear skies, we could get really, really chilly. That will continue heading into Wednesday night, into early Thursday morning, a little bit further to the east. Now we're looking into Pennsylvania, down into Virginia, with temperatures dropping into the single digits to near 0. That will also be that cold will also continue into the northeast with moderating temperatures back here. We're staying in the 30s out ahead of our next system. As our flow turns more southwesterly, temperatures start to warm up some. Now, as we head into the weekend, this is where things start to change. Here comes the cold. You start to see it out of the northwest heading into Saturday, into Sunday, and look at these numbers dropping below 0 for Chicago heading into Monday morning. That cold continues to push off to the east. Now, I think these numbers may be a little overdone by maybe 5 to 10 degrees. So even then, you're looking at lows near or below 0 here in the mountains, at least close to 0 in many areas, and you're pushing temperatures to freezing all the way to the Gulf Coast. I'm starting to buy into this idea more and more, especially when you look at the National Weather Service guidance that they put out today. I saw a post from them somewhere, I'm not exactly sure, but they were talking about how we could be looking at an Arctic outbreak heading into next week. And if you look at their forecast too, not just the 6 to 10 day, which is extremely cold. I mean, this right here is a 90 to 100% chance of seeing below normal temperatures. And this is one of the strongest and coldest outlooks I've seen in a long, long time. 6 to 10 day is cold. The 8 to 14 day is cold. And they're talking about how it could stay cold as we round out the month for a good chunk of the country. There could be some modification to the air as we head into February. I think we get warmer, but it's looking downright chilly for the next several weeks, in my opinion. It's winter. I mean, this is a cold winter. You may not be getting the big storms, but way below average. It is hard to argue against that. Across the plains, relatively quiet here, also into the Rockies. Now, once our Arctic front drops south, out ahead of this, I think there's going to be some upslope snow with that Arctic air as it squeezes to the south. So that would drop from Montana down into Wyoming, south into Colorado, and even down into New Mexico, possibly into North Texas too, especially as that transition happens. And that could put some light snow too into Oklahoma, into Kansas. It's not going to be a lot. As that Arctic air surges into Texas, temperatures drop, the wind picks up, and it's going to get cold, especially as this high builds in with clear skies. I would think Monday night into early Tuesday could be a really cold morning. Again, not a lot of snow over the next couple of days, just a little bit with this weak streak that's moving in from the northwest. Let's look at those temperatures. I'm going to take you through the week pretty quickly. A lot of the cold air that's moving east here into the Great Lakes and also into the east and northeast is pushing out pretty quickly from the Dakotas. So we're warming up here with temperatures back up into the 30s. Some areas may crack freezing. It's been a while since you've done that, but we're warming up, even into Kansas and Nebraska. But here comes the cold heading into Saturday. You can see it moving south heading into Sunday. Look at these numbers across parts of North Dakota into Nebraska, below 0. And then as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, another blast of cold air moves south. But heading into Tuesday morning, I think that would be the coldest morning here into Texas at this point. So we're looking at temperatures possibly in the teens and lower 20s, maybe even into South Texas. Does that put us below freezing along the Gulf Coast? It very well could. And if you were going to get a chance to do that, this is it. And some really cold air moving in toward the Great Lakes. And then behind that, what happens? Another shot of cold air trying to move south. So a long way to go before we get there. And then across the west, unfortunately, I'm going to take it all the way through the week. Very little precipitation, maybe some across the Pacific Northwest by the end of the week. And then possibly, again, a little bit of snow here in the Intermountain West as we head into Saturday and Sunday associated with that Arctic boundary that puts the cold air down into Texas and along the Central Plains. Now, does something happen heading into next week? Do we see a bit of a change across Southern California? Not much. Some of the longer range models were trying to push some moisture closer here, but overall, until something big changes, we're dry. That's all I got. See you next time.